I am going to come over here and get Krista on the line. Krista, you're there, right?
I am.
And I'll operate the slides for you if that's okay, and we'll get started.
Great, sounds good. Thanks, Kevin. So, as most of you may know or may not know, within the last couple of weeks, Microsoft has kicked off what they call Microsoft Inspire. This is an event that is held every year, and it is the largest partner event that Microsoft has. This event is used to kick off Microsoft's new year, in addition to a lot of times kicking off some big announcements on new features, functionality, products, and things along that line. So here's a little bit of a recap of some of the things we found at Inspire this year. As I'm sure some of you...
This is normally a in-person conference, but this year and even last year, it was a virtual conference. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. So hopefully next year we'll be back to in-person. So, but yes, as of this year, it was still a virtual event. So as most of you may be aware or may have heard the rumors already, Windows 365 is now officially out and available. It was released for sale this week. I did actually see a note earlier today that the demand for trial licenses is so overwhelming that Microsoft actually did put that on hold, but it is available for purchase if you're interested in looking at getting Windows 365 as a cloud offering. Currently, it will only work on PCs. They are saying that in the future, it will work on a mobile device. There's two versions of it that are available, a business version, and then there's an enterprise version. So we also have Windows 11 that's coming out. That'll be coming out later this calendar year. I have not seen a preview of it. Kevin, I think you did, didn't you see a preview?
I'm actually running it. In fact, the slides that you see right here are running in Windows 11. If you're part of the early adopters program, which you can be, it's free of charge. You just need really a Microsoft account to do it. You can get a pre-released beta version. It's not fully baked, but it works really, really well. I use it as my daily workstation just so I know it, ahead of time. But no, it's out there. But like I said, you do have to be part of the early adopters program.
Great. Thank you, Kevin.
Oh, no problem. One question I got, you skipped by Windows 365 before I could ask. Is there a difference between Azure Virtual Desktop and Windows 365? Because I'm sure the people in the audience, if anyone that's done, first of all, it used to be called Windows Virtual Desktop, then they changed it to Azure Virtual Desktop. Now, are they changing it again to Windows 365?
No, there is a difference. They are actually two separate products, two separate solutions.
Great. And I believe the 365 one is kind of easier to deploy and easier to manage because they use endpoint management, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I just figured I'd add a little color.
No problem. You can go to the next slide. Another announcement that came out is Microsoft Teams on, Dynamics 365 on Microsoft Teams. That was a bit of a tongue twister there. The announcement is that you no longer will need a Dynamics 365 license to be able to access your Dynamics 365 data within Microsoft Teams. So if you are using Dynamics 365 and you've got a Teams license, you will now be able to access and increase the productivity of using Dynamics 365 without having to pay for the Dynamics 365 license. So that's a really big deal if anybody's using Dynamics 365 and knows the cost of the licensing. That can save a significant amount of money for some people. So the next thing is Microsoft Teams with Viva. Microsoft is continuing to expand its use of Viva. This is going to very quickly become a very large product with Microsoft. In addition to giving access within Teams, they're also going to be adding integration with an additional 20 new partners. Some of those include ServiceNow, Workday, Qualtrics and things along those lines. So we're going to continue to see more and more expansion around Microsoft.
Are those all the modules, Krista, or are they going to be selective on, for instance, like ServiceNow only gets learning or connections, or is it just across the board?
I haven't seen yet. They haven't gotten that far in detail yet. So they're saying closer to fall is when some of these extra benefits will come out. So last is expanded industry focus. So Microsoft has some select industries that they put a little bit of a stronger focus on. How they will put that bigger focus is they'll a lot of times have various solutions, offerings, things along those lines. You'll see a lot of app templates, but different access that are specific to industries. Currently, the industries with Microsoft are healthcare, retail, financial services, manufacturing, and nonprofit. They did add a new industry, which is their sixth one, which is called Cloud for Sustainability, where they're going to bring in some tools that are going to allow companies to kind of take charge and understand their carbon emissions and set sustainability goals. So looking forward to the future to see some of those tools coming out and becoming available. Kevin, you can switch now. All right, so we have, these are some Azure announcements that came out that were specific to Azure. The first one is around Azure Stack, HCI, excuse me, it's like a tongue twister. Azure Stack is going to see product enhancements to it. It will now support virtual machines. It'll support, for Windows Server, it's going to enhance some of its security. It's going to bring in some hybrid operations with Azure Arc. So there's going to be a lot of different things that we're going to see from an expanded functionality perspective around the Azure Stack. And then we... Yep.
Can I ask a question about that? Because HCI or hyperconverged infrastructure, did they announce any new partners from a hardware standpoint? You know, the Lenovo's, the HPs, the Dells of the world?
Not that I saw. I didn't see any specific announcements around.
Okay, just wondering, because obviously, you know, we're not used to hardware when it comes to cloud. So, you know, just figured I'd ask.
Yep. No, nothing specific at this time. And then the next big change, as Kevin mentioned a little bit earlier, is if any of you have heard of Windows Virtual Desktop, it has been rebranded and it is now called Azure Virtual Desktop. They are going to be expanding some of the product updates to Azure Virtual Desktop to allow for you to directly join virtual machines to Azure Active Directory. Some cost optimization features, some streamlined onboarding. So just some different things that we're going to see there. In addition to, they're going to adjust some of the licensing options for AVD, which are going to be per user access. So that's going to be kind of a big change there when they change that. That's not set to come out until the new year, so a little bit of time yet before that one comes out. And then last but not least is the Azure API management integration. And this is with Azure Event Grid. This is in preview now, and it allows you the ability to configure API management and to be able to publish events to the event grid. So they're kind of bringing this event grid in as a single service for managing and routing of events. So, and then there's also a preview of the Azure Kubernetes service, AKS, as an event source for Azure Event Grid as well.
This will be offered in containers then, right? Kubernetes is usually a containers or an open source type of architecture?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
They're doing it so that users can easily build apps with event-based architecture. So.
Oh, great. Okay.
So that is it for my big announcements out of Inspire this year. I'm sure we'll hear more as the year continues to expand.
And for those of you that want to take a look at Viva, there are a couple modules that are free that you can actually start to deploy inside of your environment. So Insights was the first one, and that actually is available to you right now. You could go into the app library that's inside of Teams and actually just look for Insights. And that's the fourth module for Viva that you can actually deploy right now, no charge, doesn't cost anything. And I use it every day. It gives me insights to, where I spend my time, who I actually collaborate the most with. And it is a dynamic application. So it uses your time that you spend in Office 365 to actually create the data. It's not something that you have to do. It gives you the availability to actually put aside some focus time, which sometimes is hard to do when you're really busy. But you can go in there. It will show you the areas that you have available to maybe put aside an hour or two that you can focus on your work. And it's something that I use on a daily basis to help me be a little bit more productive. And it doesn't cost a dime. All you got to do is go in, take a look at it. It works really great. So thanks, Krista. We really appreciate your update. We will have other things coming later this month. We're going to be talking about Teams Phone, which they've changed. It used to be called Teams Calling. Again, Microsoft likes to change names on things, but Teams Phone is now the actual title for the offering that Microsoft has for being able to do dial and getting dial tone inside of Teams. We're also going to review global access controls for the Inscape platform, and that's going to be next week, next Tuesday. I'm sure Alex and Melissa are going to have some really great tips and tricks for you that are built into Inscape. And one thing about that platform is it's always being developed, it's always being enhanced. And one thing that we live and breathe with is recommendations from our community. So if you have anything that you'd like to see in Inscape, please feel free to email us, to call us. Well, if you're on the phone with Melissa or anyone from MessageOps, make a suggestion. And we'll bring it up in the meetings that they have. I know that the development team runs in 2-week sprints. That doesn't mean that it only takes us 2 weeks to come out with a feature, but we try to bring out enhancements every couple of weeks. And then we are going to skip the 17th because we actually have another webinar for Microsoft security inside of Office 365. We have well over 100 people already signed up for that webinar, and we're going to have some really great talent on there. Brian Lowell's going to be on there, and Carl, and you're going to get a lot of information about the enhancements that Microsoft's bringing around security. I don't know if you've seen the latest Gartner, Magic Quadrants, but Microsoft is in the upper right-hand quadrant for all of the security areas that Gartner actually has a little report on. So they've really made some great enhancements to the security built into Office 365, which carries over into Azure. And then on the 24th of this month, we're going to be talking about something that's in the news almost every single day, and that's ransomware and how to protect yourself when it comes to Microsoft 365. So we're going to go real in depth about the ransomware piece. And then we talked with Rob, as you heard, about licensure, and that is always a question that we get from our community out here, is things like trial licenses, like Krista brought up for the new Microsoft 365 desktop that they were talking about. I think it was Windows 365. Sorry about that. But you'll see that the trial licenses are in there for a bunch of different products. I know Intune is another one that a lot of our audience actually uses from a trial license standpoint. And then at the end of the month, right before Labor Day, we're going to be showing you the brand new Inscape for AWS. What we've done with the Microsoft Azure environment, we're now bringing to those of you that use AWS. And I think you'll be really excited about that and how it will actually help you manage both of your cloud environments in a single interface. And then we're going to go a lot more in depth about Azure HCI, like Krista was talking about. We're going to do a deep overview on that. We're also going to include Azure Arc. So for those of you that are interested in that hybrid solution, we'll have it for you on the end of the month. Melissa, any questions out there in the audience?
No, Kevin, don't see any questions up there just yet.
Okay. All right. Well, we appreciate your time. If you do have any questions, we'll hang out here for a few minutes and try to answer whatever you have. But you could see that, we have a pretty strong agenda coming up over the month of August. And don't worry, it doesn't end in August. Well, we're going to be doing this September, October, November, all the way through the end of the year, and then keep it going. This has been, something that we get a lot of great feedback from you guys, that this actually is something that you attend almost on a weekly basis. So let me just double check, see if there's any questions here. I don't see anything. So I will give you back some time. Rob, thank you very much. Krista, thank you very much. Obviously, Melissa and Alex, always great to have you guys on the phone here. And if you have any questions for us, please don't hesitate to contact MessageOps with any of your Microsoft questions. That's what we're here for. Have a great day.